What's up, people? You know, there's a lot of things going on right now, so let me just cut to the chase. First of all, could you just not rally 500 points in one day? If it would to be spread out over a good, let's say, 3 or 4 days, it would give me personally some more confidence in the stock market. But when we go up so much in one day, it just makes me think that it's just nonsense. Just short covering, there's nothing to it. But you know what? There is something to it. There was 6,500 about 15 days ago, and now we're at 7,700. So what it means to me is I missed the boat on a bunch of stuff. Now, you cannot be getting in the way of this freight train. And I know when the market starts rallying and everyone's in disbelief, you start trying to analyze it, and then by the time you're done analyzing it, you've missed something. So enjoy for what it is. Don't think about the $45 trillion that we're going to leave our children in debt. Don't think about America still rotting from the inside out. Don't think about all the smart people that have ruined the country and that we're just leaving our kids and the future generations in disarray. Just ignore that for the moment, because it's all about making money right now and enjoy these rallies when they come. It's very hard to trade those rallies. Myself, I bought some stocks a couple of weeks ago. I'd rather see them going up than down, like Chesapeake Energy. Basically like everything else. Anyway, I don't want to start talking about stocks right now. But the dry ships, you gotta be in the dry ships. I decided to sell out of it for some reason. And the BIDU, it's gotta be going it's going to 300. But don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype is what I'm playing in the background, because what are we supposed to believe anymore? Wall Street, you just got to believe the tape. That's the bottom line. I tell you about, it's a day-to-day thing. That's why being a trader is only the way to go. Just try to avoid those losses and keep your stops and just go with the trend. And the trend right now is to ignore everything, and we're going up. The Dow Jones is probably going to hit 8,000 before we see 6,500 again. And who knows if we're going to see 6,500 ever again. Okay? We might go to 10,000 before we start going back down again. Who knows? I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to try to overanalyze it. But one thing we have proven in all of this is that fundamentals are bullshit. And that all the smart people that have ruined the country, they're the ones that think that fundamentals mean something. So come to Hit the Bid. We're living in the moment. We're having a good time. And I see the chat room has been growing day by day. And, you know, it's not as simple as me just coming in there and say, this is what I'm buying right now, get into it. It's a lot more complex than that. And you'll learn as we go on. But there's so many people in the chat room right now. We're all throwing good ideas. Remember, it's a chat room. Everybody, we don't know who's exactly in there. There's a core of guys that are really good. But always do your own due diligence before you get into anything. Except, obviously, when I sell out of something, it always goes higher. A la the BIDU now is up 65 points since I sold out of it. That's pretty impressive, I think. Pretty impressive. So, remember a couple of weeks ago I was talking about how much of a douchebag I am? Well, my douchebaggery was tested on the bus ride here just now, because I'm sitting there, I'm in the back of the bus, and this guy behind me is talking like, oh, no, I'm thinking he's just making fun of somebody. So I give a little glance, but he was full blown. He was full blown retard, I guess we could say. I don't want to insult the retards, but I'm just stating a fact here. And he was talking. I mean, maybe he doesn't have the knowledge of maybe keeping your voice down on a crowded bus in the morning. He's just going on with some conversation on his phone. And I wanted to know where the politically correct line would be drawn. Do you tell the slow person, psst, buddy, I'm trying to take a nap here. All right? I know you got your capacities are limited, but learn this right here. Nobody likes loud talkers in the morning. I mean, he's good enough that he's on his way to work. He's got a job. So where is the line to tell the slow man to shut the fuck up? Because I didn't get my nappy time on the way here, and I'm not in a good mood. But the politically correct, I can be a nice guy, and I decided not to to say anything, even though I probably would have got a round of applause from the rest of the bus riders because you know everybody was dying to tell this guy to shut up, but I didn't do it. So back to what we're doing right now, and the website's been growing. And yesterday, what we were doing was we were talking about um, embracing the horror when the market goes up. Just try not to analyze it. Don't overanalyze it. Don't be Carl. And speaking of Carl, we got to talk about Malice. Malice is our friend in the chat room. This is a young man that I have taken under my wing, as I've done in the past. Carl was a failure in my life. Carl was a guy that I had trained to be a trader, and he thought he was going to be this over analytical. He wanted to be a hedge fund analyst kind of guy. But I told him, Carl, listen, you can't sit there and start analyzing what a company does when you're trying to trade it. And he would just consistently try to trade stocks. And when his analysis would get him to hold on to stocks when they were going against them, even if the chart said it was probably a good time to go out, because he thought he was really smart. Basically lost money every single day. And he was just a complete failure until I told him finally to get the hell out of here. And Carl's hiding away in school. That's what people do. They go back to school when they can't find a job, and they hide away. So Carl, remember, if I ever do see you again, I know you don't watch the show anymore. The guy doesn't even call me anymore. I thought he was a friend of mine. He doesn't even call me to see how I was doing, well, through the market collapsing. But now we get to Malice. I set Malice free because I was interviewing people. I was interviewing engineers to try to get this website running. And so we're talking in the back of my office, and Malice is up in the front on my computer. Little did I know Malice was, he was just trading one share at a time to try to get a feel for what was going on. Little did I know, and I'm appreciating Malice's not turning to me and telling me the situation, in a way, Malice suddenly bought 1,000 shares of Apple and was down $600 in the blink of an eye. Didn't hint about it, didn't even turn around and say, yeah, I think I screwed up here. He sweated through it and managed to get out of the Apple with a 2-cent profit. Now, Malice learned a valuable lesson that day, yesterday. If he was allowed to be trading 1,000 share lots, there probably wouldn't have been a problem. And I'm glad he didn't turn around and tell me, because I would have probably just told him to get out and take the loss, and I would have beat the shit out of him. But what happened is he wound up getting out, and it was a typical trade. If you can stomach the pullback, and that's why yesterday was a very difficult trading day. Those days when the market's up huge, when there's no pullbacks, because every time you get into a trade, you think that you've just topped out the market, and you take your small losses, and then the market continues to go up. With Apple, obviously, a 50-cent pullback is just average in that stock. So he was in the midst of a $500, $600 loss, but then he held on to it because he had no choice, really. But then he did not enjoy the next 2.5 points that the stock went up. That is a typical trade. Remember, if you hold the trade through the difficult part, you might as well hang on now to reap the benefits of the gut-wrenching feeling that you just had. So he learned a valuable lesson. That's what it's all about. Because what happens is when you're down $500 in 13 seconds as soon as you get into a trade, I mean, it was probably in a split second. It happened so fast. You get into a trade, you're suddenly down money, and then you're so relieved that you're not losing money that you get out of the trade flat. Psychologically, you feel better, but then you've lost focus on why you entered that trade in the first time. You have to hold on. There was no reason to get out, especially because it was breaking a whole number. It was at 105. What did you think the stock was going to do? Of course, it went up about 2.5 more points. So Malice enjoyed his first gut-wrenching day trade of his life. Welcome to the club, Malice, and hopefully that never happens again. Or if it does happen again, maybe he'll hang on to it and make that $2,000. That would have been a nice trade for his first trade as my employee. A $2,000 profit would have been sweet. But I'm going to go back now, and basically there's what's it called, sheetrock dust on everything. And if you know about sheetrock dust, that shit gets everywhere. So I'm going to just be sweeping up, and I'm just going to be waiting for BIDU to roll over and go negative today. If it breaks 185, yes, if it breaks 185, I'm probably going to get short this thing because I'm hoping reality takes hold, but of course it won't. So, see you later.